Seaside, gorgeous Monterey Bay, the first week of May. And the USL Championship in Week 9. Tristan Traeger already 4 goals in 8 games on the season for Union. Ready to take on Indy 11 and Jack Blake in some of the best scoring form of his career. Indy and Monterey Bay are coming up. Week 9 of the USL Championship season comes to you from Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. Indy 11 go cross-country, try and knock off Monterey Bay. Welcome to May, and with Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts on hand. The Western Conference has been kind to Monterey Bay to this point. They're 4 points off unbeaten Sacramento, but their 4-game win streak ended by Orange County and Irvine last weekend. They have a chance to jump into the top 2 here tonight, but they'll have to do it without Rafael Baca in midfield. It's a huge loss, so Fair drops in. That gives room for Alex Dixon to get back into the 11.
Yeah, an opportunity, and you insert a player in Alex Dixon's quality that led this team in goals last season, and Alex Dixon's going to look to manipulate the tempo, not only with connecting both sides of the field, but the ability to break lines of pressure, not only with his range of passing, but on the dribble as well.
Conversely, for Indy 11, there is a lot of talk around this club, and we'll touch on it later, but they did pick up a vital win against North Carolina. Hartford did lose at Charleston earlier tonight. Means they can jump into the top 8, playoff position with a positive result this evening. To do so, they'll look for Augie Williams coming off a triceps injury to regain some scoring form.
And Augie Williams is just a player that scores everywhere he's been. He led Charleston Battery in goals last season with 15, a team that was in the USL final last season, top 10 in all-time in the USL in goals scored. He does it in a variety of different ways. He knows where the goal is. He can explode past defenders, and then he can work in those blind spots and finding dangerous space.
And so the men from the Circle City make the trip all the way out to the Pacific Coast. Indy 11 trying to regain their winning form against a Monterey Bay team that was arguably in the best form of their young club history. The fans are filing in. It's a fun one to close out the night on Golazo Network. It's Monterey Bay and Indy 11 coming up next.
Do you want to go to the game tonight? Yeah! Let's go! I am the future, yeah. I am the future, yeah. Let's go. I am the future, yeah. 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 I am the
Montage Health, your hometown team.
Something that is built, it takes time.
This one's for the underdog that gets up before the sun comes up. Success is something that suggests that you have made an extra effort above and beyond what your competitors and other people do. Success at Coastal is making sure that we do your job right and we take care of your family and we take care of our family. We are Coastal. We are family.
CBS Sports Golazo Network bringing you action from Seaside, California. Monterey Bay taking on the Indy 11. And with Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts, let's get you caught up on the lineup news, and there is a lot of it for both teams. We begin with Monterey Bay, no Baca, so the key inside is going to be Fair dropping in as the lone 6.
And for Monterey Bay, it's going to be about converting chances, but to convert chances, you have to create them, and Monterey Bay has done that at a high clip. Moby Fair, as you mentioned, dropping into that position for Baca, playmaking from that deeper area, and then the wide play of Boone and Enriquez, those services into Tristan Traeger.
And Siaha in goal, tied for 3rd in the league, 25 saves. Will try and be important again today against this Indy 11 side. A group that frankly has a lot going on and off the field. They made a trade 2 weeks ago, and the Bens are in. Mines in midfield, Ofemu in the back, and Augie Williams returns.
And looking to stack performances, the recent form, 2 unbeaten, trying to navigate that 3-game stretch of 3 straight losses. The key is going to be about how they play around and through the pressure of Monterey Bay. It's going to be a collective effort. Deespe, O'Brien, and then this midfield of Lindley, Blake, and Mines. They're going to be instrumental in the tempo in which the ability to show. And then can you skip lines of pressure? Can you find Augie Williams, who can always stretch a back line? And then Guenzati and Martinez out wide as well.
Now, there is a lot going on around Indy 11. News breaking about a week and a half ago now that the mayor of Indianapolis had gone to New York, met with representatives from Major League Soccer, including Commissioner Don Garber, about potential expansion to Indianapolis. That would not include Indy 11. And so there's been much of a dark cloud hanging over this team. The coaching staff saying we owe it to the supporters, to the club, to the league to put good performances out, pick up points. They struggled to deal with that nervous energy early against North Carolina. They did come away with a win last week. They'll try and climb above the playoff line away to Monterey Bay, move within a point of first place in the West with a victory. Underway in week 9 from Seaside. Comes down to Boone. You know, the tough thing for Indy 11, we were talking with Sean McCauley. He said the players can typically compartmentalize. It's so much harder for them to compartmentalize the personal side. It's their wives, their girlfriends, their children. They're the ones reading this or feeling this as much as anything, along with the supporters, knowing that suddenly there's a little bit of uncertainty about where you're going to be.
Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult it is to navigate that news. It just puts the conversation far away from football, as it should, in terms of, like you said, the personal side of it, how it affects the families.
Tossed into Seba Guenzati. Down into the corner, chopped away by Revelar. And yet for 90 minutes here, you get to focus on this, which is a welcome respite for them.
And that's what Sean McCauley had mentioned, was the players can get back into the rhythm of results, and they can navigate that. They can see that for what it is they play well, they get the results they want, and this is an ambitious side that 3-game stretch where they conceded 11 goals in that 3-game stretch, that 5-3 loss to Lou City, and then followed up with a 4-2 loss to Charleston, 2 of the top teams in the East.
Yeah, it turns out both Charleston and Louisville dropping 6 on opponents last week. Indy's not exactly in poor company, but still it stung, and now it's 3 unbeaten for Indy 11 as they've started to find their form. And notably under Mark Lowry last year, 8 wins, a club record away from home, and they picked up 28 road points, one of the best marks in the league. So they'll try and continue that in Sean McCauley's first season as Guzman brings it forward for Monterey Bay.
And I think an aspect that builds confidence for Indy 11 is that, as you mentioned, that first 45 against North Carolina FC was not the most progressive 45 that they feel like they could have played. And any time, I mean, you saw it with Lou City in the result against Loudoun, that 1-0 result with the own goal. When you can prove to yourself and your team that you can win in a variety of different ways, I mean, that puts momentum in your favor, and especially in a matchup like this, you travel all the way to the West Coast to take on a team in Monterey Bay that looking to bounce back from a 2-0 at Orange County, but feel like they created the chances that they could have put some in the back of the net and made that game a different outcome.
It's a big ask tonight. A throw for Indy 11. It's into the penalty area, flicked along the end line. Still trying to deal with this, cut across. It was Mines. Follow-up taken out of the air, Blake. And Siaha race over and catch it at the end line. That Lindley who let fly. Revelar. I'm really intrigued to see how this midfield looks. Baca's come out of games late, but it's the first time this year he hasn't started. And really, the turnaround for Monterey Bay, except for the final 5 games where they just seemed to run out of gas at the end of last season, began when they brought Baca into that midfield, into Fair, who fills those very big shoes.
Agreed, and I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't think anybody would be surprised if it took a bit of time for this midfield to gain traction, find some flow, and for Indy 11, that's going to be the challenge. And if they're up to the task of disrupting, and not just disrupting with winning 50-50 challenges and being up for that physical play, but screening passes, making it difficult for Monterey Bay to progress through the phases.
Revelar leading forward, swung outside, ball off the back heel. Dangerous from Chuy Enriquez. Still alive here through Dixon. Dixon slides in to try and win it again. And Indy racing toward the halfway line. Dees Pay pumps the brakes. Outside from Blake. Down the line from Stanley. Williams.
You have to like the commitment from both these teams so far early on. 5 minutes in, we've seen both teams showcase dynamic play and positive thoughts going forward. Sometimes when you have this East-West matchups where you don't see the teams as much just because they're not in your conference, you tend to play a bit more reserved, maybe side to side, backwards, see what space becomes available. But both these teams, as soon as they regain possession, you could see how committed they are to play forward.
Williams brought it down. Williams puts it out of play. Throw deep in the Monterey Bay half. And Fair chips it upfield. Hangs up, rolled along the line. That'll get out. It is a goal kick, and we'll tell you if you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC channel 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesdays at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on Sirius XM FC channel 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Revelar chipped away. Dixon going in, but Guinzotti's got it. A longtime talisman for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Lindley seeking Williams. Williams brought it down, got the shot away. It's wasteful. Augie Williams has been the danger man for Indy 11 in the early going.
And this is how Indy 11 can hurt you. Collectively, they're still starting to mesh. They're still starting to put it all together. But individually, Augie Williams, that ball played in by Cam Lindley. I mentioned Guinzotti just a few moments ago. Martinez is really starting to come along in the 2 goals he has this season. Jack Blake, he highlighted in the open. Pick up Ben Mines in that trade with Miami FC.
And Ben Mines was so critical as a midseason acquisition to Orange County when they won the title in 2021. It was Mines who clipped it forward. He's on the ball now. Given away cheaply by Guzman. Gonzatti swan dives, won a free kick.
And where Indy continues to show tremendous promise is in their conversion rate. When they take chances, they take quality chances in the final third, as we see this midfield challenge and foul on Gonzatti. Their conversion rate has them sitting second in the USL overall at 21%, and that speaks volumes to their ability to upgrade shots. They're not just settling from anything from distance. That's what happens when you have the experience of Augie Williams, Gonzatti, and players like Cam Lindley, ability to set tempo and create plays.
You talk with Sean McCauley, and they talks about aggressiveness, about playing forward, not settling for square and backward passes, putting teams on their heels. Once you add guys like Douglas Martinez, Augie Williams, Seba Gonzatti, you're paying McCauley to get to the final third. You're paying those guys to be efficient when you get there.
Yeah, that's what exactly. It's gonna take time. I mean, you lack space, but you're absolutely right. That's what they're there for. That's their role, and they understand that. And I think it shows in the numbers that Augie Williams has put up throughout his career. Is he is a forward and attacking player that finds a way to influence the match, regardless of how the tempo and the flow is presenting. He's gonna problem solve. He's gonna access different spaces. He's gonna scan the field. Ability to make others around him dangerous as well.
Martinez, that's blocked, comes skittering out to Mines. Hangs across, Siaha reaches up and grabs it.
And I think some of the attacking presence for Indy 11 comes from the defensive structure and that defensive posture for them as well. Sean McCauley had mentioned in that 5-3 loss to Lou City, he felt like his team was up for the game. They were flying, but unfortunately they were just flying in some of the wrong spaces. You know, you could work hard defensively, but if positionally you're putting yourself out of position, working hard and not necessarily working smart, you're gonna have good teams be able to break you down.
Boone from the shade, ball knocked down. Enriquez leans it back, trying to wiggle through Guzman, contact galore. Corbin May looks on, play continues, arms extended, cross through, lifted away from the top of the six. Martinez got drilled from behind by Alex Lara. And finally a whistle does arrive.
What a chaotic sequence here. Starts with the call for a handball, but clearly defender had his arms behind his back, and then Guzman looking for the foul there, and it still ends up with a ball clipped in for Monterey Bay, and just no numbers in that far post, and then ends with the foul on Martinez.
By the way, Monterey Bay have scored before the half in their last 4 home games at Cardinale Stadium. Indy 11 have scored before the half in their last 5 road games. In theory, there is at least a goal in the next 35 minutes, and both teams appear poised to go for it in the early going. Williams did well to deaden the ball. Slashed in Boone's general direction. Lindley. Mines.
And you have to believe for Frank Yallop and his side, one of the simple fixes from, I know they got a result at Memphis, but you want to stop conceding early.
Boone approaching the end line, kept it in. High from Dixon. Career high 12 goals in 2023.
Good drive here by Chase Boone. Taking Mines all the way to the end line, creating that space. Still the ability to get this ball into that area. Alex Dixon, and that's why you have a season in which you score 12 goals. opportunistic. You're committed to getting yourself in the box. Monterey Bay had those 2 games where they conceded within that first 10 minutes, came back and beat Memphis 2-1. That early goal by Orange County, they still were not able to overcome it. They created chances that came the first 15 minutes or so. Felt like it should have been 2-2, or both teams just going back and forth.
Shuey Enriquez trying to get everyone on the same page. USL on CBS Networks continues in May. Detroit City taking on the defending championship winner, Phoenix Rising. Saturday, May 11th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific on CBS Sports Network. And you can go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com and see the full slate of games that are available both on CBS Sports Network in May as well as here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Third all-time meeting between these teams. Revelara foul. It has never been a lack of goals. 5 goals in each of the first 2 meetings. Boone had 2 for Monterey Bay here at home in a 5-0 win over Indy in September of 2022. And they met in April of 2023, a 3-2 Monterey Bay win. One that saw Guinzotti score a go-ahead goal. Monterey Bay 2 goals in the second half to win the game. Lindley and Blake, you've got 2 real magicians over the ball.
And Frank Yallop had highlighted that he needed his team to be careful with conceding these free kicks in these dangerous areas, because you have the ability of Blake and Lindley, that delivery.
Lindley have gone off the training ground, bashed back into the penalty area, and finally Chuy Enriquez comes galloping away with it. Lindley got a piece, kept it in on the paint. Enriquez. Blake puts an end to that. Blake was part of the 2019 Real Monarch title-winning team. He's never quite scored at a clip like this. Really started in preseason. The guy bagged half a dozen goals while they're still in exhibitions and has added 4 since.
And you see a set piece like that, and that's something that you see in preparation for a match like this, whether it's a team that you feel like gets overshifted or they don't shift quick enough when those entry balls played. It's usually where you get one shot at making it work.
Fair toward Guzman, now Lindley. Can't call that play twice.
No, I think you've used it up, and seen crazier things though.
Service launched into the box, nothing there. Fair keeps. Boone is trying down that far sideline now. And a lot of that, right? You come from the collegiate coaching ranks. You watch tape and you try and figure out what an opponent might do if you do a certain thing.
Absolutely, and always knowing that good execution is going to beat. What a move there.
Wow, Donor flying above the bar. Wow.
What a shifty move there out wide. And the ability to drive, but unable to execute on this final action and get his head up. Committing to the shot and just putting it well over the crossbar. But on those free kicks, you know that if you have high quality execution, you're gonna beat any well-defended free kick. So something that you can go back to if you feel like you can execute it at a high level.
Blake paid the price. It's a little further out. Sean McCauley offering his 2 cents. I mean, you've got towering figures in the area. Douglas Martinez listed 6 foot. I think that's leaving him a bit shy. Dees Pay is 6'3". Williams 6'2".
And that's why you've got to imagine that they're going to want to see what they can do inside the box here and not go short.
Blake. Well, you got to put it in the mixer to have a chance. They did go for Dees Pay. Hits off the flag. That's a goal kick. This is an Indy 11 team that actually performed quite well against the top 3 last year. The year in which they finished 6th, went out in the conference quarterfinal in the East. We're actually unbeaten against the top 3, 4 draws and a couple wins. This Monterey Bay team, of course, sitting 3rd in the West coming into the weekend. Guinzotti, Williams. It's everybody fly by him, including Stanley, the outside back. That's a big switch for Ofemu.
It's always fascinating how the story of a season can change in a week. You see this ball wide.
Ofemu dangerously. That'll be a corner.
That is a good look and good involvement by Ofemu. And what Indy 11 is doing so well here early on, besides playing positive and being progressive in the way they're approaching the game, is they're getting a lot of touches in a variety of different ways with a variety of different players. They're getting Cam Lindley on the ball. They're getting Blake. They're getting Mines, Guinzotti involved, Martinez, and then Ofemu there out wide.
Here's a bagel corner kick. Lindley offering, caught by Siaha. And quick distribution, they see something here. Revelar, can he get by? Mines swiped it. Now Indy suddenly racing into space. Williams returns, lost by Mines. And Dees Pay gives everybody a breather.
Whew. I was gonna say, this is exceptional pace for this game.
Yeah.
You know, back and forth. It hasn't necessarily led to a clear-cut chance for either side. You had that broken sequence for Monterey Bay where they thought handball was there. They maybe thought the foul on Guzman, and then they ended up with the cross far post where nobody was, and then play out wide by Donor. Ended up over the crossbar, but besides that, neither goalkeeper having to make a big save yet, but through the buildup in the middle third, these are two teams that are connecting passes with a purpose.
Guzman for Chase Boone. Steps inside of Mines, hung up by Guzman. Grabbed by Solt, who makes start number 3. Really jumped in over Yannick Odell because it was a 3-game week. They wanted to give the 22-year-old that they brought in from Portland a chance. I mean, the kid's been a pro going back to 2021, the Alaska native. Actually debuted with Timbers 2 in the championship. In the final year, Sean McCauley was an assistant for the Timbers in 2018. Scooped up here by Siaha. Came into Monterey Bay as a trialist, grabbed the job, and really never let it get away.
And for Indy 11, with the introduction of Salt to the goalkeeping position, I mean, this is a team that has 0 clean sheets on the season so far, and desperately looking for that consistent identity. And I'm not saying that you got to keep clean sheets every game, but 13 goals for, 17 goals against. You're going to want to find more balance than that in both boxes. Obviously, the goals for, keep that going. As we mentioned, the conversion rate, 17 goals against, the most in the USL.
Blake, he felt Dixon right behind him, so he dragged that foot, never got the shot away. And look, 9 goals conceded in a 2-game span to the 2 best teams in the East is going to make it look ugly. Everyone understands that. But ultimately, there was a need for a defensive recommitment across the board from Indy 11, and they felt like they've seen it. But it goes back to what you said earlier. Commitment doesn't always mean I ran more miles because I was committed to the team. Sometimes it means staying in an uncomfortable position on the field because you need to keep shape so that you don't get torn apart. As Dixon runs through the center circle with suddenly a little break in, Dees Pay is finally able to caulk over. I mean, you could argue that's sort of an issue throughout the American game. Well, just run more. Yeah. That's not always the answer.
Yep, because running more, there has to be a decision made with it. And I think there's some plays out there in the game that are just unrealistic to make. And yes, you can credit the effort, you can applaud the work rate.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to cover ground that's just not doable, then you're putting your team in a really difficult position. You're leaving space available behind. You're pulling your team apart.
Enriquez off the outside of the netting, and Salt steps to the fore for Indy 11, 25 minutes in.
And Enriquez testing Salt's commitment to staying on his line, trying to see if he'd cheat over to deal with the service instead.
Bagel corner kick. Enriquez, ball bouncing through. Traeger got that all wrong. Not a ton of missteps from Tristan Traeger this year, but that would qualify.
Former teammates with Augie Williams, so facing off and...
And meanwhile, both of them are watching another former teammate, Nick Markanek, rip off 12 goals in 10 games to start the year, including a bike today. Led Charleston to a win. They remain unbeaten, 7-0-3. Just them and Sacramento remain in the championship without a loss.
You talk about a team in Charleston in the final last year. You lose players like Tristan Traeger, Augie Williams, and what do? You go ahead and continue to lead the league in goals. Obviously, Nick Markanek at incredible rate.
Guzman, Boone chasing after it. Guinzadia headers, sees it to fair.
And we see it consistently in the USL, the change, the roster rotation, new players signed, departures, and for teams to just continue on where they left off a year ago, it's tough. And that just showcases how much the identity is important.
Williams unleashed. Kai Green drops in, ahead to Martinez. Touch dragged him outside the area, bouncing over to Mines. It looked really intriguing. Now Indy 11 have waited and gotten every red jersey into the attacking half.
That's a position where you see Augie Williams on the ball and you think something dangerous is going to come of it, but Well played for Monterey Bay.
Blake bangs off of Revelar. We'll get a set piece out of it at least, albeit about a minute later. But right, isn't that one where you want to see Indy 11 really hammer the gas?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the way and how quickly that developed, you thought that that was the only way it was going to go. And for it to slow down is something that Indy 11 is going to want to, especially with the pace and tempo they've come out and played with.
It is a bagel corner kick. In a moment. I really want to know how Indy 11 divvies up these set pieces. Now Aiden Stanley's taking one. We saw Blake take one. We saw Lindley take one. I'm not quite ready to say this is one of those, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. But now they'll be able to get an in-swinging ball out of Stanley, whereas Lindley would hit with his right foot. Ball launched across, clearance away, flicked back into the width. They'll get a second bite at this apple. Back into the area, no better the second time around. Blake beneath it again, and now Williams a chance for a third phase. Williams. Lindley. Apparently a clean win of the ball from Revelar. And they're off to the races through Alex Dixon. Support wide. And Mines comes over and ends it. Fair now. Is there a single blade of artificial grass that Ben Mines hasn't touched yet?
It looks like he came into this match with intent and purpose to cover that ground and showcase that he wants an expansive role in this Indy 11 side.
First start, fourth appearance, only 47 minutes to his credit. We're still trying to see Mines and Ofemu get to full Indy 11 caliber fitness as well. Dixon knocks it wide. Donor early. And bopped away by O'Brien. And a corner for Monterey Bay.
And with the pace in which this match is going, I think we can all look at these corners, something that both these teams want to capitalize on.
Bagel corner kick. Enriquez never got to Lara, but he'll get a second chance at this. These pay a magnet on set pieces. Enriquez, Dispay. Donor. Offside. Chuy Enriquez did not get himself back. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship, many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Indy 11 running into a quickly dropping Monterey Bay back line. Guinzotti, that was an elongated sliding challenge. And now Blake got taken out. Free kick, and what a place to win one for Indy 11. Guzman is livid.
And I'm not sure why, because this play breaks down and just gets all of Jack Blake there. Revelar. This is that areas that Frank Yallop was adamant that his team could not concede. Now, is it at a distance where it's difficult to get it up and over and be precise? Cam Lindley and Blake over this.
But there's only one. They're trying to gain an extra yard, and you might think you'd want a yard closer. If you're Blake, you want enough space to get this over the wall and back down again. So Revelar saying he moved the ball back. Well, you can go with Thunder in D's pay, but the reality is Blake is your finesse player. Jack Blake off the wall. Blake again!
And the focus is to get it up and over and have those towering bodies in front of you, trying to make that wall as big as possible, and Monterey Bay doing just that. You can see the frustration for Blake.
That's not a live ball. Fair. Carlos Guzman. Guzman spent some time with a number of guys in this game who were part of San Diego Loyal's final team last year. Jack Blake, 2 years with Loyal, came to Indy last year before the writing was on the wall that Loyal would ultimately go under. Notably, Chavi Nalati is available in this game, the young starlet for Monterey Bay now. Nate Miller brought along so well for Loyal, San Diego native. Whistle comes here at the halfway line. Another 10 minutes to play in the opening half. Williams. Blake. Forward from Stanley, Guinzotti. Kai Green comes away. Stanley centrally, stabbed out to Revelar. Blake got a piece. Guinzotti kept it in on the line. Blow this harmlessly to Moby Fair.
Monterey Bay has fizzled out a bit offensively, as I say that, turn and have a ton of space. But good tackle.
O'Brien catching Traeger, whose last touch was a bit loose. Mines, undeterred. Outside, Martinez toward Guinzotti. I don't know if they had a donor.
Last 5 minutes or so, Monterey Bay has found themselves pinned back in their own area, and that affects and influences the way they're able to play out and the explosive nature that has changed through this first 37 minutes. You saw the exchanges really being back and forth. Now it's more Indy 11. That's just with Tristan Traeger having to drop and down press. So everybody's starting position is deeper down the field. You see Tristan Traeger there.
Enriquez. Ofemu down to Solt. Monterey Bay had won at Oakland against Las Vegas, in the Open Cup against Irvine Zeta from Nisa, and at Memphis. Long ball forward, Augie Williams. Conceded an early goal to Orange County and then late, ultimately chasing the game. Their second loss of the year. Foul here from Indy 11. Kai Green won it. Free kick, Monterey Bay.
And although this sequence ends with a foul here, you have to wonder if that longer direct pass is going to be on a bit more for Indy 11 because they have built through the third so well. All that attention is in that line in front of them. Ken Augie Williams, a player that has proven to do it both in front of a back line and the ability to stretch and play beyond a back line. Does that become available? We saw it midway through this first half. Augie Williams getting on the ball on that left flank and playing it up, being slowed up and well defended by Monterey Bay. But there have been some chances that Indy 11 have exposed over the top.
Frank Yallop looks on. First and only manager for Monterey Bay. Forward for Dixon. He was offside. And you know, for Monterey Bay, can they get Dixon off the starting blocks? Only a goal and an assist. Can they get Luther Archimed later in the game, likely to come on as a sub, scoring again? You know, Traeger's got 4 goals. That's positive, but all the talk about Indy, a lot of goals both ways. Monterey Bay has been able to pick up goals when they've needed them more than they've scored for fun.
Yeah, it's that adage of goals change games, but the timeliness and the scenario in which those goals are scored matter as well. And when you concede early, like the previous 2 matches for Monterey Bay, you put yourself in a position where you have to, I don't want to say manage the game because you're trying to equalize, but you do have to be careful in the ways that you approach it because you can't concede the second and put yourself down 2-0. You have to pick and choose those moments.
Lindley. Douglas Martinez at full sprint. Mines is trailing. Martinez to the other side of the area. Snap down. Blake! Saved. Alex Lara steers it wide. It never got to Siaha. He had 1 positive touch to control it and then unleashed.
And what a run here by Martinez. And to not only make the run, but to have a delivery like that, well set by Guenzati, and the strike by Blake and earning yet another corner.
Bagel corner kick. Snapped by Siaha. Couple of results worth telling you about around the league. Birmingham, a league-wide high for the season. 30 shots. And in the 90-plus fourth, their 30th and final shot was an equalizer from former Indy 11 man Stefano Pino. Birmingham 2-2 against FC Tulsa. San Antonio and Oakland split the spoils, 2-2 in that game with a late equalizing goal. A penalty from Johnny Rodriguez in the 84th minute to salvage a result away at Toyota Field. The toilet bowl of sorts. Ronaldo Damas at 22nd minute go-ahead. Colorado Springs is on the cusp of potentially grabbing a second win against El Paso. El Paso is in real trouble. Ball wound in over the top. Header down. It is right at the keeper's soul. And Chase Boone on the receiving end of a gorgeous service.
And for a game that
it's opening up. Ball to the top of the area. One effort by Guenzati, but it bounces harmlessly in the end to Siaha. This thing is going end to end. It's given away. It's Blake through. Guenzati turns. Mines has an opening. Mines crossing. Guenzati couldn't get there. It's out.
Woo! And for a game that looked like it's starting to tilt in favor of Indy 11 in terms of chance created in that final third, this ball could have flipped the game, and then this chance, then Ben Mines just a few moments later almost looked like he had a chance to maybe drive a bit more, pull that Monterey Bay back line up a level.
Corner for Indy 11, ball bouncing off the foot. Augie Williams wide of the post.
That's the kind of ball that Indy 11 is going to want to build upon, because when you're playing a goalkeeper like Siaha, they have not put enough traffic or bumped enough runners to make it difficult for Siaha. That service there, good pace, good bend to it.
Enriquez, there's the whistle, flags up. This has been a fairly quick opening half. A normal match, you'll end up seeing somewhere between ball and play 50 to 60 minutes. This is on pace toward the upper bound of that. If there's any stoppage time at all, it'll be limited. We've gone past the 45. Lara sends it away. Referee will allow this to play through. The fourth official has said no stoppage time. So this is literally the conclusion of the attack. Mines offering. Williams steers it wide, and that's how the first half ends. Williams, a number of chances. Jack Blake, 5 shots already in this match. But Indy 11, nothing to show for it, and some real end-to-end action.
And for Monterey Bay, it's about going back to where you found success early on in this first 45, being dynamic in your availability and the outlet passes going forward, because that's when they were breaking lines of pressure, both on the dribble and through their passing range. And for Indy, it's that final action. They're creating chances. They're getting numbers in and around Monterey Bay's box, just not completing that final action.
Coming up at halftime, a look at cup sets of yesteryear in the U.S. Open Cup, as Monterey Bay and Indy 11 both prepare for the longest serving tournament in American soccer history. Also look at the scores around the league and the first half highlights. Integris Wealth Management halftime coming up.
Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy, game-winning interception, first down, just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Integris Wealth Management halftime. Monterey Bay and Indy 11 scoreless. May the 4th be with you. Eric, you've got any favorite character from the Star Wars, the whole rigmarole?
I was telling, I'm a bad movie reference person. I'm just can't come up with one.
Yeah.
Chewie?
Yeah. It's money if you actually say it. Hey, the Open Cup continues next week, round of 32. Fans will be focused on USL and MLS matchups. Great history of cup sets. USL teams have pulled off the upset against their Major League Soccer foes.
Mertz again trying to play in Deekwa. Deekwa's in behind. Deekwa's open the scoring.
Chest it down. Oh, that is spectacular. It's a cup set for Union Omaha.
Kassim cutting inside. And there it is. Cup set magic in the air tonight. Saved by Viniello. Rodrigo Lopez. It's improbable. It's indomitable. It's another cup set.
All round of 32 U.S. Open Cup matches available to stream on USLsoccer.com. Take a look at these mouth-watering fixtures. I like Atlanta and Charlotte. That one feels unique. Houston making their debut. They'll get to host Detroit.
And for Pittsburgh Riverhounds and FC Tulsa facing off 2 times in a row, one time in the Open Cup, and then turn around a couple days later in league play.
And same could be said for Tampa Bay and Birmingham having to do that. Seattle, they'll host Louisville. That is the shortest of short straws.
It is, and Las Vegas Lights and LAFC should be an intriguing one as well.
The Chirundalo Derby.
Yeah.
All right, it is halftime here. You know, I once met a stormtrooper on one of these May the 4th celebrations. They can be there, and you don't have to pay for the rights, but they can't talk. So we won't listen to them. Halftime.
Go get it, Doug.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Distance, oh, what an effort, and it's special.
Machoma fires,
Looks great.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Let's go! I'm about to make my grand entrance.
Do you want to go to the game tonight?
Yeah! Let's go! I am the future, yeah. I am the future, yeah. Let's go. I am the future, yeah. I am the future, yeah. I am the future, yeah. I am the future. Yeah, I am the
Montage Health, your hometown team.
Let's take a look at news and notes from around the USL Championship and beyond. Open Cup continues this week. While Oakland has parted ways with Noah Delgado, they'll welcome Dom Dwyer to the team, but do so with Gavin Glinton as their interim head coach. Meanwhile, Nick Marcanek, 4 goals and an assist last week, and a 1-0 win earlier tonight against Hartford. Scored a bicycle kick for his 12th of the season. Out-of-town scores sees Memphis take advantage of an 11th minute Forrest Lasso red card, a 4-1 win on home ground. Detroit dropped points a couple weeks in a row now. Scoreless draw, 1 point apiece with Loudoun. While North Carolina and Rhode Island finished 0-0, and Pittsburgh's back from the dead. Bob Lilly's not happy with the performance, but he is happy with 3 straight wins. There are other games going on ESPN Plus tonight. New Mexico now leads Las Vegas. Phoenix and Sacramento are scoreless in the 25th minute. Sacramento trying to remain the lone unbeaten in the Western Conference. They are away against the reigning USL Championship winner. Upcoming schedule for Monterey Bay sees the Union take on Sacramento in the round of 32. The 2022 finalist Republic will host that game, and they will host Memphis on the weekend back here in Seaside, while Indy 11 will return to the mic to take on San Antonio FC in the Open Cup round of 32. That'll be SAFC's first game in the Open Cup this year. Then Miami away on the weekend before hosting Hartford and Phoenix. Their schedule will become just a little bit more regular. Here in Seaside, the fans taking in the halftime attractions, and this Monterey Bay side playing a wide open affair. Integris Wealth Management presenting the halftime coverage. Look back at the first half, second half kickoff soon to come on the Pacific coast of California.
At Integris Wealth Management, we know what it takes to be a good teammate. For 25 years, we've been your trusted ally. We are local and independent. We care for our clients' money as if it were our own. We believe in doing the right thing and work together to find big wins for you. Integris Wealth Management. We turn values into action and champion livelihoods.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Monterey Bay and Indy 11 are scoreless at halftime. Your halftime coverage has been presented by Integris Wealth Management. First soccer game?
Yeah, remembering where they were, and may the 4th be with you in terms of the event around it as well.
Adorable. All right, we got plenty to cover here from a first half with highlights galore between Indy 11 and Monterey Bay. We'll start in the 10th minute of play. And, Indy 11, a number of chances.
And a start that you really wanted in terms of, for Indy 11, playing on the front foot, being really progressive in the way they broke lines of pressure. And Monterey Bay met that pace in the first portion of that 45, creating opportunities of their own. Chase Boone here playing wide, and then the delivery by Guzman, but just unable to get anything clear-cut in front of Salt.
Skip ahead to the 25th minute of play. Indy 11 did have a marginal expected goal advantage at the half, but this one of the better chances. They were able to get Chuy Enriquez unleashed a handful of times.
And Enriquez, they're looking for the service, getting his head up, and then instead deciding to test Salt there, seeing if he was cheating to go to deal with the delivery. And then this was the best chance from both teams. Header in from Chase Boone, coming from that wide area, finding that central space, and then good delivery from Guzman. And this coming in a moment where Indy 11 was playing with a bit more of the momentum, creating those wide services. And then later on, this chance from Guenzotti, and then Jack Blake having one of his own as well. 9 shots for Indy 11, and I dare to say that came on the latter portion of that first 45. For Monterey Bay, they just have to find a bit more variety in their outlet passing from those deeper areas. When they regained possession, they were really positive in the first portion of that first half, and then Indy 11 started to screen a lot of those passes, deny those entry passes, and flipped possession in transition.
And ultimately 14 shots between the teams, but only 3 on target. So Monterey Bay ready to take on this Indy 11 side here in the second half. Both above the playoff line with a positive result tonight. For Indy, they start at 2-4-2. They were tied for 8th. They are currently below the line, but this point would be enough. Monterey Bay, on the other hand, 3rd place in the West. In the spirit of May 4th.
Are you ready to start the second half, Union fans? Let's go, Union!
Giving away thunder sticks in honor of the May 4th game. Look like lightsabers. Brilliant. Here we go at Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. Scoreless at the break.
And in no way treated to a dull game either. This has been a back and forth affair. And again, it was just a bit there in the first half that...
Early service at the feet of Siaha and Douglas Martinez. 30 seconds into the half with a dynamic offering.
And this is where Indy 11 continues to find success, is these wide services. And now Martinez able to work off that blind shoulder of the defender and kind of picking up where Indy 11 left off in that first half.
Enriquez. Wow, how did Traeger get that through? Dixon wide. Boone. Will stand on Ofemu. Boone rolled it all the way through, and the run was late arriving. And the effort to keep that in from Chuy comes up short.
And it looked like Enriquez was waiting for that cue and waiting for that moment, but just needed to commit to that run towards goal, because Rebelar did a tremendous job of making a run outside in, having all of Indy 11's focus on his run, and Enriquez was able to sneak in late, just not getting as deep as he needed to be on the end of that service. So just like the first half, both teams exchanging dangerous opportunities.
Lindley got a foot in on Revelar. That's a quick restart. Dixon. It seems like they've come in bunches too. Big transition swings of the pendulum from end to end. Fair. These pay into Donor. Create a mighty chance of his own in the first half. These pay down the line. Williams checked up. We'll give and go. That broke down. Kai Green forward toward the halfway line. And that's sent into no man's land. Green through Siaha. And right back up the gut.
And with as back and forth as this match has been, neither team doing anything that hurts themselves. They're not punishing themselves with poor play out of the back, casual turnovers, getting dispossessed in bad areas. It's just good, positive, progressive play through the thirds. Sometimes when you have that positive, progressive play and that flow from both teams, you're going to halt that flow with a couple set pieces, a couple fouls here and there, and in areas that you know are not going to hurt you either.
Boone taking that into the sideline. Sort of feel like I'm looking at a different planet. Lara. Grabbed by Siaha. Only 12 touches in the opposition box for Indy 11 in that first half. And both these teams that seemingly always in Monterey Bay's course score at home. For Indy 11, score on the road in the first half. Nothing to show. Not yet. Chewy. Donor. There's no options in the middle of the penalty area, and Donor just got shoved down. That is a wholly unnecessary foul from Stanley.
Yeah, and no reason to give up a free kick in that area. The ball was going backwards. You had already done a great job of extinguishing any sort of positive play that Monterey Bay had in that final third. They were going to have to recycle and reset and allow you to get higher up the field, and now giving Chuy Enriquez a chance to put this ball in a dangerous area. You see Salt's starting position there.
Enriquez. It's a defensive header. Enriquez heads into the corner. That's going to, in fact, be a corner.
Corner kick.
You heard the man. Enriquez. Wafts that back. Corner bound. A throw. Donor. Ball away. No one really grabbed it. Revelar. And now Lindley. These pay. Williams. Floated down for Martinez. Kai Green intercedes. Boone. Oh, what a catch. Josh O'Brien into the stands. Indy 11 last year finished 6th in the East. Monterey Bay 11th in the West. It's Indy 11 trying to climb above the line tonight. Monterey Bay can move within a point of Sacramento potentially. Orange County is off this weekend, one of 2 inactive teams. Louisville City is also off this weekend. Well, Sacramento is facing Phoenix. Top 3 teams in the West all reside in California. All struck through by Blake to Siaha.
And I think both teams are going to be pleased with the movement, the chances, the overall opportunity they're giving themselves in and around that final third. But they're going to want just something different when it comes to the final, that final decision.
Mines. Work from Rebelar. This will be a corner. Bagel corner kick.
Just like both these teams are exchanging sides of the field where they're just
corner kick.
Going straight. They're able to recognize how many numbers they can break with one ball. And I think that's what both teams are doing a great job of. Now they're earning corners. You're just not getting anything from them.
Stanley. Williams got away.
You can just see how quickly, and it's an extension of the first half for both these teams. It is not taking them long to go from back line to midfield to forward line. So they are wasting no time and still building through the thirds productively.
Blake wiggles out of it, down to Stanley. That's out of play. By the way, result did just go final. Colorado Springs do win 2-0 over El Paso. And one of the really sort of fun underlying currents of that game, El Paso's manager actually coached Ronaldo Damas in Sweden after he left Orange County. So don't quite want to call it a revenge game. The team got relegated. Everybody got sacked. Martinez, Blake. That'll leave the venue altogether. But Damas getting a measure of revenge, and suddenly the switchbacks are 2 points off the line, and El Paso have 2 points in 9 games. I wonder if Brian Clairhout spent a very hot seat in El Paso in the past. The expectations there are extraordinary, and they are watching the season get away from them very quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can continue to say that it's early on in the season to right that ship.
No, they're more than a quarter of the way done.
And I think that's where, as results for Colorado Springs, results for Indy 11, I mentioned the win from Pittsburgh earlier today. They got off to a slow start. You're at the point in the season where, I don't want to say you are who you are, but those trends and
Dispay hangs that up there. Siaha able to grab it.
Those trends and those characteristics from your team have already been on display, and now teams have a good look at that. And as we see this ball in by Dispay, Augie Williams has talked about it in the first half, the involvement overall from Indy 11 as we see the foul now by Dispay. Got touches and involvement from almost their entire 11 in the final half, the attacking half. That just shows how much rhythm and how connected they are.
Driven away by Siaha. By the way, Clairhout got sent off at the end of that game, which makes you wonder. Makes you wonder if he'll see the other side of the upcoming suspension. Douglas Martinez, Enline, Williams. This has been a shockingly wasteful performance. The chances, it feels like, have been there to see at least a couple of goals by now.
And to not even put Siaha in a difficult situation and having to come up big. This is what Indy 11 is going to look back at and want to be more clinical, want to be ruthless in those situations, especially when you have a player like Augie Williams that has a nose for the goal.
Enriquez, that's met by Lindley.
It has been surprising to see some of these teams that have struggled early on and lack production in the final third as we see this play develop with Chase Boone.
Back outside to Donor. He made a meal and a half of that. Could have continued, preferred the free kick.
His teammates acknowledging 1v1 with Blake. And in a position where if you put this between 6-yard box and that PK spot, putting Indy at 11 in a incredibly difficult situation. Assault at 6'7". Cover a lot of ground in there.
Enriquez to go right for that general area, and away by Williams. All the way down to Siaha. Finley's calling for a free kick. The referee doesn't agree. USL Championship is on CBS Sports, the ESPN platforms all season long. You can catch live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, the ESPN Plus, the USLChampionship.com for complete USL TV listings. Over on ESPN Plus right now, Rodrigo Lopez just scored a scorcher of a free kick to take the lead away at Phoenix. And so the unbeaten Republic, Monterey Bay will see in the Open Cup midweek. Now lead that game 1-0 against a spiraling reigning champion Phoenix Rising. Couple changes. You can see Ikoba and Collier at the bottom of your screen. That's it for Augie Williams, who is coming off a tricep tear. And Guinzotti off as well. So a couple sets of fresh legs for Indy on the attacking end.
Number 9, Augie Williams. Entering the match, number 17, Kei Ikoba. And number 18, Indy.
There's no question that when you make a subs like this at this time, these were discussed at halftime. These were probably discussed even going into the match. But going back to my point with some of the teams that have struggled here early on, I mean, bring up the El Pasos, but Colorado Springs Switchbacks, I mean, some of the teams towards the bottom of their respective conferences, we see a yellow card.
Looked like it was given to Sean McCauley on the bench.
He's clearly upset that Tristan Traeger's able to get a whole lot of O'Brien's shirt, and the foul is still called against O'Brien. But Colorado Springs bringing a player like Ronaldo Damas, and you don't pin this on one player, but collectively as a group, 4 goals on the season at the bottom of the USL. Rhode Island bringing Albert Dikwa, collectively as a group, 7 goals, sorry. No, 7 goals, sorry, on the season. Again, towards the bottom, another 0-0 draw tonight. So Rhode Island with 7 results, 2 of those being wins, 5 draws. You're gonna want to start flipping those into 3 points.
Yeah, that's gonna be frustrating for Kano. The expansion franchise up in Providence. Archimed preparing to enter for Monterey Bay in a moment. And then Jerry Ione, who's blazed onto the scene in the Open Cup, set to make his 3rd league appearance. There's a foul. That's from Green. Stanley wanted to play. The referee says the changes will come first. Rebelar and Traeger, players completing their shift at 66 minutes.
By BBSI. Exiting the match, number 7, Adrian Rebollard, and number 9, Tristan Traeger. Entering the match, number 64, Jerry Ione.
Ione from nearby Salinas.
Number 17, Luther Archimed.
And then can the Guadalupe International Luther Archimed get going? And it's a question that's frankly been asked for the last couple of years now, going back to Sacramento. Had this otherworldly Open Cup run in 2022. If he can just see one hit the net, floodgates could open, and that's precisely what Monterey Bay is dreaming of tonight. This is off the training ground, so it's Blake. Ultimately put that out of play, out beyond Benofemu.
And both these sides, you covered it at halftime, the upcoming schedules. This is that time of the season where
ball given away cheaply, leaned back, and Siaha able to recover. That was nearly a catastrophic error from Monterey Bay.
And this is what this game has not seen so far, and And coming in, his very first involvement is a turnover.
Looked like Ayoun slipped a little bit as he came to that ball too. It wasn't really a great position for him to begin with, but it didn't get any better. And Ayoun on the wrong end of it again. And Monterey Bay is going to want to take a good long time on this goal kick and reassess.
We're approaching that time of the season where schedule gets congested. You know that your depth is gonna be tested, and the squad rotation is inevitably gonna have to be there.
Free kick won by Monterey Bay. Quick restart for Dixon. Winds it outside. Donor crossing dangerously all the way through. Ayoun back to the ball. Guzman, Dixon, rolls it across, sliding over, making the save. Salt turns away Chuy Enriquez.
And albeit different services and different types of opportunities, but this very reminiscent of Chase Boone's opportunity in the first half. Wide open in space and just unable to tuck it away on either side of Salt.
Meanwhile, Donor saying, nah, Anthony, you can have it. To your point about squad rotation, couple of notes. With Rafael Baca, tweaked his groin last game, came off before half. It's just tight, according to Frank Yala. Expectation is that's not going to be a long-term issue. Grant Robinson is back in the team, could play today, likely will play midweek as well. Xavi Nalati is finally available for Monterey Bay today. And then, of course, the 4-game suspension for Walmer Martinez expires after this game. So he played in the Open Cup game against Irvine, which was the easiest lineup decision ever made. You would think he'll go again this week. That's going to come with a card. That's a yellow.
And just as the first half for Monterey Bay, now Indy 11 has fizzed out offensively.
A yellow card has been issued
Now
to
the
Indy
foul
11,
on
number
Aiden
3,
Stanley and the yellow card.
Offside by man.
But just like Monterey Bay, Indy 11 is going to have to find a way to navigate and problem solve if they want to get a footing back in this game, because Monterey Bay is looking to capitalize with some of the exchanges that they've had. A chance just a few moments ago from Chuy Enriquez.
Ayoun lays it off. Dixon!
And when you're playing a goalkeeper that possesses the height of Salt, it's that ball that moves side to side quickly, and that's where Alex Dixon knew that ball went central, and he had the opportunity to get Salt moving left to right.
Foul from Dispay.
And for as back and forth as this match has been, still 0-0. And it's lacked quality in that final third. Just hasn't been met with that final pass, that final finish. In the 11, opening chance by Martinez. And Augie Williams, the header over the crossbar.
is begging for that to be a throw the other way. By the way, you think about it now, Callum Chapman-Page not available for Indy, but they now have 4 members of, frankly, a Miami team that didn't exactly inspire last year that they've brought into this Indy 11 side. Did a lot of sprucing up over the offseason. And of course, the 2-player trade a couple of weeks ago. That's a whistle. D's pay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's trying to gesture and make a point, but he's lucky that Corbin May is taking that in the right tone.
Exactly, and he is very fortunate that the temperament here is, as you mentioned, he's understanding of the point that D's Pay is trying to make, but
I've seen guys sent off for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. And look, malicious or not, right? The rule is the rule. And that's sort of where you go.
Yeah.
Whoa there. I mean, even that'd be a yellow in any instance for dissent. And then you get a second yellow. I mean, there's a number of ways that could have
And that's
boiled.
a great point. It's just the nature in which he approaches, and then go into replaying the event that just got you the yellow card
right
on the referee.
All the way down, Salt there. Again, not malicious,
no.
Not calling for anything. I'm just saying that's one where Corbin May had suddenly a decision to make about how he wanted to see the final 15 minutes of this game played.
And then a yellow card now.
Should he show how he committed that foul?
Since his was a tackle with the studs.
Archibald into the book for that. I think that's more one for dangerous play than it is for actually making substantial contact. Third yellow in 300 minutes this year for Archibald. Here's the next man in. That's a guy who can really affect the midfield, Tyler Gibson for Indy 11. All right, here comes the change. So we mentioned Gibson coming on. It's going to be Martinez coming off. This is the third change, second window utilized by Indy 11. And the interesting thing there, you bring in more of a holding midfielder. Martinez comes off. You've already brought off Guinzotti and Williams. So how they're going to put these pieces together is Gibson slides on the captain's armband. You're probably going to throw Blake a little bit higher up the field. He and Lindley will go for it. Blake here, blocked. Stanley knocks it back. Gibson.
And you got to imagine that for Sean McCulley and his side, and you see the substitutions, and for both sides in general, but for Indy 11 being calculated with the chances you take, is now here with less than 14 minutes left. I'm not saying you're okay with a 0-0 draw, but you want to make sure that you can create one or two more high quality opportunities, but also not leave yourself susceptible to anything that can concede a goal. And his pay needs to be careful with not even just the foul, but the reaction to the call, because there's still plenty of time where sending off can affect the outcome, and that's the last thing you want to do when your team has battled the way they have.
Donor. Give and go broke down. We can tell you that eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Monterey Bay have had 73% of the ball in the last quarter hour. We're going to bring this back. Blake got cleaned out.
And Monterey Bay has forced Indy 11 into an uncomfortable transitional game. We saw a lot more balance in their build in that first half, and even to begin this second half. But Monterey Bay effective in the way they're disrupting Indy 11 on the ball. With that said, having to be careful with dealing with this free kick.
Blake delivers, looping header off the mark. That was Dee's Pay, much talked about in this second half. You also have Elliot Collier, who's a mountain of a man at 6'4". Trying to lead Archimed. Up from O'Brien. Knocked down to Blake. Ikoba. Green goes in. That's awkward. Lindley plays it centrally. It's just a hair off the mark, and it comes leaking out to Enriquez. Dixon head swiveling. Boone passes. We'll look down the right-hand side. Donor cascading. Archimed was running. He didn't like the look. That would have taken a lot of wherewithal. And instead, the easy pass gets away. My own, it's just been a little bit off since he's come on.
It has, and Indy 11 has just not been able to turn any of these final third entries here in the second half into something dangerous, where Monterey Bay is going to be able to look back. If this game stays at 0-0, they're going to look back at the opportunity from Boone in the first half, and then the opportunity from Enriquez here in the second.
Chances that perhaps are about to get away. Donor down the line. Enriquez chips this across, asking a question. The Indy defense that came lunging for it. Into the Macaulay-led bench. That pass from Green. I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game. Elsewhere, New Mexico, 2-1 lead at the half over Las Vegas. 2 goals from Daniel Bruce, who's finally back for New Mexico United. Love to see it. Vegas, 5 losses in the 5 games in which they've trailed at the half. Down the right-hand side, cross through, ball drops to Boone. Boone still getting after it. Boone stiff-armed, a free kick coming to Indy.
And this is a point with 8 minutes left for both teams. Start or continue to put pressure and make each other make decisions in the defensive box. You just never know what you're going to get. You saw the awkward tackle on one end in Monterey Bay's box, and then this one leading to a foul on Monterey Bay. But the idea and the isolation there with Chase Boone, you just never know. Put a ball in the mixer, and ball that drops to your feet, get a deflection.
At that point in the game, Collier. Collier played down the right channel. Fair. Corner. Indy. 83rd minute.
And can this be one of those moments
Bagel corner kick.
where Indy 11 can create the chance they need to go ahead? As it's Aiden Stanley back on the delivery.
Bagel corner kick. We've got a Dolphins fan in the corner with a White Sox fan and some fans, it appears, of Aiden Stanley. Hangs in the air. Siaha came out. He didn't high point that. A basket catch.
And it looked like his own teammate that is the traffic in front of him. Let's see how either of these teams play out this final 6 minutes.
Ikoba, that's a foul. Boone has Donor behind. Right, Donor getting praise from the manager, Frank Yallop, for his performance, although can't get too far in a conversation with Frank Yallop without Donor's name coming up. Such an important piece to them. Fair. Donor once more. He's a bit more inverted this time. Seeking a through ball. Dixon hangs this to the back post, bouncing, grabbed by Salt.
And there's a couple times throughout this game that Monterey Bay has had terrific runs near post and central, but have needed a run there far post. We saw it in the first half. We see it there again. We saw that late entry by Chuy Enriquez in the second half, that unable to get to that far post.
Fair. Monterey Bay won 4 in a row, all competitions, including the Open Cup. Saw that end against Orange County. Trying to grab a win here at home to get back on the right side of it. If they do so, they would jump Orange County in the standings into second, regardless what happens in Phoenix with Sacramento. It's only May, but we're starting to see the real battles out west coming into clarity. Trotting into the final third, Ione downshifting. Ball drops back. Ikoba, that is a risque foul from Fair.
Clever thought there by Ione, and then Moby Fair just going through the back. Ikoba earning a yellow card. And you can see both teams playing with a bit more caution than we've seen in this match. Not wanting to give up space in behind. Not wanting to turn the ball over with numbers committed in the final third. You're seeing a bit more isolation. Can that turn into one more chance in front of frame?
Inside to Blake. Sidesteps Boone. Tries the width of Stanley. Works on Donor. Stanley got a good cross through. Ball lob back in. Falls. Collier scores! Elliot Collier puts Indy ahead on the road. And one of the league's absolute best away from home last year has conjured that magic again in the 88th minute.
And this is the commitment that Indy 11 was looking for. Looking for one last chance here in the dying moments of this match. Aiden Stanley driving 1v1, putting it on that left foot. And the patience of Elliot Collier to drop into that space. Everybody from Monterey Bay have been driven back to their own end line. And Elliot Collier absolutely smashes that into the back of the net.
That is his second goal for Indy 11. And the crazy part, nearly 6 years apart. 2018, when he was on loan from Chicago. September 2018 against the Rowdies, and now signing with the club after last season in San Diego. He's gone to Monterey Bay and grabbed the lead in the 88th. And the wave working its way around Cardinale Stadium. The fans here hoping it's not two successive defeats for the Union. Ball dropped off, slide in. It belongs to Indy 11, and now their focus is going to change. Monterey Bay is going to get their final sub window utilized as Michael Gonzalez coming on. He scored against Las Vegas. The 23-year-old native of Fresno, Chuy Enriquez, make his way off the far touchline. I beg your pardon, Ione and Archibald came in unison, so they do have one window remaining. We had no stoppage in the first half. We will have 4 added minutes in the second half. And Indy potentially about to make it 4 unbeaten, couple wins in a row in the league.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time.
Boone. Dixon. Ball into the area, nodded away. Ball from the end line. Met this time by Ofemu.
Plenty of time for Monterey Bay to find an equalizer and rescue this point.
Change for Indy. They're going to try and take some air out of the ball by making a change now. Jack Blake comes off, and Lawrence Wotton comes in off the bench. 24-year-old third-round pick of the Chicago Fire gets his league debut. 62 games at Ohio State after rising all the way to the under-23s at Cardiff. A yellow comes to Blake on his way off the field, his 3rd of the season. Appeared to be taking his time. By the way, the last time Collier, I mentioned, is 2018, scored for Indy 11. Seba Guinzati was playing for the Rowdies in that game, notably. That was a game in which Jack McInerney and Ioze, Dylan Maris, Carl Ouimet scored in that game. Some really familiar Indy 11 names when they first made the transition from the NASL over to the championship. What's old is new again. There's still another minute and a half, and that yellow would make you think there's going to be a long leash here for Monterey Bay as well. Donor inside, Ione dancing. Outside for Dixon. Dixon curls across. Good intervention. Still it's on. Guzman was trying to combine with Boone, who overran it. And now at full speed, Collier. Donor intercedes.
And just like a few moments ago for Indy 11, Monterey Bay needs one clear-cut chance. They've created a few of them throughout the night, have not been able to convert, but they have that ability. Now they have to do it in short order.
Ball forward toward Archimed. Appeal for a handball. That may have caught O'Brien. There's at least another half minute. With the sub in the yellow, you'd think probably another full minute. Donor. Indy 11 on the verge of picking up a win, about as far away from home as the map will allow. Gonzalez. That's one by Dees Pay. It's 1v1 back here. Can Ikoba finish it? Ikoba with strength. Runs it right up to Siaha, grabs the ball. We've gone 4.
He's got to go quick.
Rolls it out. Here it is now for Monterey Bay. Turned over at the far sideline. Referee looks on. Ikoba. Collier joins Ikoba, brought down by Siaha. And if you give that to Collier, he's running all alone into the corner. And there may not be time for this one final chance. Pick back up by Indy. Have they done enough? Rattles around. Kai Green. Sent outside by Dixon. This will be it for Monterey Bay, you can be sure. Ball lobbed in. Caught by Salt.
Just needed that delivery to be one layer lower.
And that's it. Indy 11 get the winner from Elliot Collier in the 88th minute. And will travel all the way back to Indiana with all 3 points.
And Indy 11 recording their first clean sheet in league play. And for Monterey Bay, 2 games shut out and 2 games where they've created the chances. Carlos Guzman being on the end of a number of those deliveries. The one into Chase Boone, and a couple in the second half. The one where Enriquez wasn't able to get to that far post.
He was tonight's man of the match, presented by Golden Memorial. This one will sting a bit for the Union, but Elliot Collier is the man for the occasion tonight. Indy 11, a 1-0 win over Monterey Bay. The full wrap-up coming up here on CBS Sports Golazo Network. All smiles for Elliot Collier. You can understand why. This was a goal over half a decade in the making. He was a loanee from Chicago the last time he tallied for Indy 11, and it's back-to-back wins for Indy, including a big one here on the road. With Eric, Mike, let's wrap this one up for you. We're going to start in the 46th minute as the second half kicked off with a real opportunity for Douglas Martinez.
And for Indy 11, you thought this was going to be picking up right where they left off in that first half. The delivery by Ben Mines, the run by Martinez. And then Monterey Bay began to grow into this match. We see another ball in here to Martinez. And then Augie Williams over the crossbar. But this being one of the last clear-cut opportunities that Indy 11 were able to put together until the end. Monterey Bay began to play on the front foot, played with good tempo. The rhythm was just broken up a bit, unable to convert this turnover.
Siaha able to smother it, and that would be the first real chance for Collier coming off the bench. Siaha up to the task, came in tied third in the league for most saves. Monterey Bay started to find themselves around that 70th minute. You mentioned the second half was better. This would be Dixon getting it across for Enriquez.
And that wide play out there by Guzman. The entry pass here. Good play across by Alex Dixon. And that's where Monterey Bay is going to look back. They had the Chase Boone opportunity in the first half. The header that went right to Salt. And then that chance by Enriquez. Again, not pushing Salt into a tough save. The deliveries kept coming. And then Indy 11, the substitute, Elliot Collier, driving deep and then pulling back just a bit and understanding where the space is, because all of Monterey Bay defenders are pushed towards that end line. And then the emphatic finish.
Well, they needed it. And Indy 11 now climb above the Eastern Conference playoff line. Monterey Bay do not pick up points against inactive Orange County nor Sacramento, who still lead their game with Phoenix. Here's the full-time stats, chance for your final thoughts.
16 shots for Indy 11, only 4 on target, but the one that counts, the one from Elliot Collier, a lot of possession for Monterey Bay, and I felt like the tempo from that back to the middle third was really good. They just lacked a bit of urgency and decision-making there in the final third, but overall, comprehensive performance from Indy 11. They did just enough defensively, limited some of those loud opportunities for Monterey Bay, and took advantage of the late one from Elliot Collier, and building up to that, because that wide play and that delivery was quality throughout the night.
All right, so Indy 11 will host San Antonio midweek in the Open Cup, while Monterey Bay will go away to Sacramento midweek for their next match in the Open Cup before returning home to see Memphis next Saturday night. For Eric Dobransky and our entire team in Seaside and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. It was a physical affair, and one in which Indy goes on the road and keeps the moniker of Road Warrior. Elliot Collier in the 88th minute, the winner. So long for now. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.